I love that my hair is just a disaster. It was weird. It took like 7 seconds for this video to start filming. This is part 2 of the previous one. I didn't finish saying what I wanted to say. Okay, the point is that multiple cultures is a poverty catalyzer. You create poverty by having a melting pot. It results in avarice because everyone kind of wants things. They feel like they're entitled. They want to have everything kind of be given to them in a sense. And I'm not saying they don't want to work for it. I'm saying regardless of whether or not they have to work for it, they feel like they gotta pick their butt up and become something better. Which is terrible because you can have inspiration and aspiration and effort and goodness in you without having avarice. But these melting pots, they create these limited perceptions. They create this inequality, limited job opportunities, limited ways that you can get places. And it just doesn't work. And the only reason I'm saying this about the Spanish people in America right now is because this Spanish America is huge. And why do they have poverty? It's not because of the United States. They have poverty because they have a specific cultural conflict inside themselves which they need to reprove, not just come over here and ignore that it's there and say, no, I'm going to be like you. You're not going to be like us because it's genetically ingrained into you not to be. Okay, so I like Spanish people. I like the poor ones. I like the single fathers. I like the rich ones. I like the families. I like Spanish people. I do. I've been there, and I talk to them, and I see them all over the place, and that doesn't change my perspective on crime or poverty or adultery or any of the negative consequences of unvetting immigrants. So, okay, let's get back to the video for a moment here. Okay, because it's a poverty catalyzer, and it results in avarice, which is the equivalence of idiocy. Avarice is idiocy. It produces it. This isn't creating economic grief, because economic grief is a lack of manpower. And that's what they have. They have a lack of contributing manpower to their economic well-being. It's a social grief. It's an intellectual deprivation to shadow cast real problems by acting like you have entitlement. You don't have entitlement to anything anyone else ever produces or does or anything like that. So it's like how intellectual deprivation and melting pot, it's how the United States takes the you out of words. It's like taking the you out of behavior. It's degeneration of language. It's degeneration of knowledge, because you is literally the rune for significance. So you took the significance out of behavior. Imagine that's what you were expressing every single time the word behavior came out of your mouth. It's just you've removed you from the situation, and it's just like a poof of incoherency and conceit and disregard and negligence. It's an awful way to express yourself. You might as well just learn how to speak a different language, because if you're going to speak English and use behavior without a you, you're literally expressing a degenerate thought. So these melting pots have even been bad for America. We have tons of poverty in America, and we don't blame the Spanish for that. We don't blame anyone in particular for that. We blame the poverty, the adultery, and the social limits we have from conflicting with one another. And that doesn't mean that we need to all become one. That means that we actually need to respect our boundaries. And instead of having avarice and looking out at, like, I'm an Italian guy looking out at the Germans, no, I was going to say a Swiss guy, but a Czech guy here looking at the Swiss, no. Like, everyone wants what everyone else has, and they feel like they can buy it off them. That's not a good thing. They feel like they can take it, not a good thing. They feel like they can marry their way in and take it, not a good thing. Avarice is terrible. So, melting pots are bad for economic intuition. It's overstimulating. It ruins the imagination and aspiration of the society. It's like a concrete jungle of people that defecate in water and have shaven beards and cut their hair all nice and everything, and they just are a bunch of monolinguals, because they have to compete with one another. So the Italians, the Germans, the Poles, the Finnish, and the French, and everyone's just going to speak the same language. It creates a lack of effort, a lack of progress, and it's degenerate. It's not progressive. So what I'm getting here from this Twitter feed being filled with Spanish is that the goal is that through the Hispanic invasion, it's destroying America by flooding us with degenerate hordes of bastards and bigots. Bigots are the whores in this situation, because through having more poor boys by taking our jobs and by breeding adulterously, the rich people have more poor boys to compete with for the larger volume of poor girls that they can prostitute. So I see this is what's happening here. The shadow casting of our society is facilitating whoremongering and prostitution, and the media is funding it because they're billionaires. And so, good morning, America. That was Twitter this morning for me. So, the point is that I'm not jealous of whoremongers, though. Not even a little bit. I don't want to fucking chuck other people's daughters. I don't want to swear. I just got my account banned falsely, like under false pretenses, but either way it's gone. So I gotta watch what I say from now on. But no, I'm not a disrespectful butt that wants to run into a relationship immaturely and say, "Ha, I'm innocent. I was immature. I'm innocent." Because no, you're not. That's your objective. You're guilty. I don't like those people. So the point is that I have to cope with the 90% of inbred rats that are jealous of womanizers. So I'm surrounded by bigots and asshats and numbskulls, and I have to deal with that, and that jeopardizes my security, and that jeopardizes society as a whole, and that limits my work opportunities, and it makes it so my work opportunities are surrounded by porn addicts and bigots, which is not cultural diversity, which isn't good for you, it's just terrible, and it's not even educational. So, yeah, hence I hate whoremongers. Like, which is strange, because I don't hate anyone except for whoremongers. Like, I loathe homosexuals on account of the fact that I hate homosexuality, but that's something we can discuss in another video, and I intend to. My channel is going to be loaded with all crazy stuff. So, if you thought this was interesting in any way, shape, or form, please subscribe. There's going to be plenty more of it, and we're going to cover everything.